The Firebringer was a native boy. The skin of his body was dark and shining. He had straight black locks cropped at his shoulders. He wore no clothing, but a scrap of deerskin belted with a wisp of bark, and he ran free on the mesa and mountain. He carried in his hand a hunting club made of a cleft stick and a rounded stone. He lived in the long ago time before fire was brought to the tribes, when men and beasts could talk together and understand each other. The coyote, keen gray dog of the wilderness, was the friend and counselor of man. When the boy went out to hunt, the coyote ran by his side. In the summer, they saw men catching fish in the creeks with their hands. They saw women digging with sharp stones for roots to eat. In the summer, they fared well. But when winter came, the people ran shivering in the snow or huddled in the caves. The boy saw that they were miserable, and he felt very unhappy. "My people suffer and have no way to escape the cold," he said. "I do not feel the cold," said the coyote. "That's because you have a fur coat," said the boy. "My people have no fur coats." "Let them run about then," said the coyote. "That will keep them warm." "They will run until they are weary," said the boy. "And they are young children and old people who cannot run. Help us, O counselor." "This is a way to get help," said the coyote. "It is very hard, but you and I will take the way together. We must go to the west and bring fire from the burning mountain. The tribe must help too. We will need 100 men and women, strong and swift runners." Then he told the boy what fire was, and the boy tried to understand. "I will find the runners," said the boy. But that was easier to say than do. Most people were lazy and many were afraid. Most of them did not believe the boy could help for them, for they said, "We have never heard of fire. How can this boy know something that we do not know?" But at last the boy talked so much about fire, and the people were so miserable in the cold, that they decided to do what the boy told them. 100 men and women, the best and fastest runners, said they would go with him. The coyote advised them how the march should begin. He and the boy led the way. Next to them went the swiftest and fastest runners of the tribe, with the others following according to their strength and speed. They left the place of their home and went over high mountains where great jagged peaks stood up above the snow. They went down to the other side of the mountains into a dark wood. There the sound of the wind in the branches made them afraid. Here the coyote stopped. "Do not fear," he said to the people. "Take your rest." In the morning, he chose one man to stay in that place, saying, "Wait here until the fire comes." "How will I know when I see it?" asked the man. "How does fire look?" "It is red like a flower," said the coyote, "but it is not a flower. You will know it when you see it." He led the tribe on towards the west. The next night, another man stayed where he was, and again the coyote led the tribe westward. So it was at the end of the day's journey until they came to a great plain where the earth was dry and cracked and parched grass rustled like straw. The coyote chose a man to stay in that place. "Rest here until the fire comes," he said, "but do not let it touch the grass. Fire can run raging through the grass and devour all before it." "Is it a beast?" asked the man. "No, it is not a beast. You will know it when you see it." So they went on until only one runner was left with the boy and the coyote, and they came together to another range of hills, not so high, but tumbled thickly together and covered with thick woods. "Stay here," said the coyote, "until the fire comes." But the last runner asked, "Will the fire come upon me like an enemy?" "It can be an enemy," the coyote told him. "It is very fierce and hurtful, and stays not for the asking. Yet, if it is kept among stones and fed with small sticks, it will serve the people well and keep them warm." Then he went on with the boy, and at the end of the 100 days they came to a big water at the foot of the burning mountain. It stood up in a high and peaked cone, and the smoke of its burning rolled out and broke along the sky. By night the glare of the fire reddened the waves of the big water when the fire spirits began their dance. "There is the fire," said the coyote. "It has a lair inside the mountain. The fire spirits guard it night and day. Stay here until I bring you brand from the burning. Be ready and right for running, and lose no time, for I shall be far spent when I come again, and the fire spirits will chase me." Then he went up the mountain, and the fire spirits laughed when they saw him coming. He was thin, and his coat was much the worse for his long journey. Slinking and shabby and mean, he looked as he has always looked, and it served him as well then as it serves him now. He looked like an animal of no importance, so the fire spirits paid him no heed. Along the night, when they began to dance, the coyote stole a blazing piece of wood and ran with it down the slope of the burning mountain. When the fire spirits saw what he had done, they streamed out after him, red and angry, with a sound like a swarm of bees. The boys saw Coyote coming with his fire spirits after him. He saw the hot sparks stream back along the coyote's side as he carried the firebrand in his mouth and stretched forward on the trail, bright as a falling star against the dark bulk of the mountain. Then the boy stood up in his place, clean-limbed and taut for running. He heard the singing sound of the fire spirits behind the coyote and labored breath of the counselor nearing through the dark. The boy stood bent for the running, as opposed to the speed of the arrow. The good beast panted down beside him, and the brand dropped from his jaws. The boy caught it up. Out he shot on the homeward path, and the fire spirits snapped and sung behind him. Fast as they could chase him, he fled faster, until he saw the next runner stand up in his place to take the firebrand from him. So it passed from hand in hand, and the fire spirits tore after it through the thick woods, over the parched prairie, until they came to the mountains of the snows. These they could not pass, and the dark, sleek runners, with a backward streaming brand, bore it forward, shining starlike in the night, glowing red through sultry noons, violet pale at twilight, until they came in the safety of their own land. Here they kept a fire among stones and fed it with small sticks, as the coyote advised, and it warmed them and it cooked their food. As for the boy, he was called the Firebringer while he lived, and after that the coyote was called the Firebringer, so there's no other with so good a right to the name. And this is the sign that the tale is true. All along the coyote's thin sides, the fur is singed and yellow to this very day, as it was by the flames that blew backwards from the brand when he brought it down from the burning mountain.